Okay, hi everyone, and welcome. We still have some people joining us, but I'm just gonna jump in tonight. If you guys don't know me, my name is Brittany Raup, and this is our third of our monthly wellness Zoom. Started doing this at the beginning of the year, and we did our January call on macronutrients. That was super helpful. We've been talking about protein a ton. February, we talked about blood sugar balance, and tonight is going to be all about GLP-1. So I'm really excited to share this information with you. If you guys don't know me, my background is in health promotion and wellness management, and I've worked with probably thousands, definitely hundreds, probably thousands of women and men on exercise, nutrition. I love health and wellness. And right now, what I do is I partner with a supplement company. I work from home and I homeschool my four kids. So that's kind of a little bit about me. But really, my big passion is just to share wellness tips, and that is what these monthly Zooms are all about. Just to answer questions, to share some of what I've been learning and the knowledge I've accumulated along the way, and give that to you guys so that you can just make the best choices for yourself and your family. You are the CEO of your health, and many of you are the CEO for your family's health as well, right? Like moms out there, grandmas, parents, you are making decisions not just for yourself, but also for your family, and it has a huge impact. So the more that we know and the better tools we have, the better we can do and just steward our bodies, our wellness well. And so that's what tonight's all about. Just a quick disclaimer, this is not medical advice, okay? I'm not a physician. I do have my degree and a lot of experience, but this is just meant to, again, share wellness information and give you guys some tools. But of course, your personal wellness journey is going to be different. Medications that you're on, all of those things should be discussed with your physician. So if you have specific medical questions, make sure you take those things to your doctor. Okay, so let's dive in. We're going to be talking about GLP-1 tonight. We'll keep this pretty short, hopefully like 20 or 30 minutes at the most, and then we'll have some time for questions. But here's what we're going to cover. We're going to talk about what is GLP-1, this mysterious thing we keep hearing about. What actually is it? What does it do in your body? Why are the medications for GLP-1 so popular? And then we'll end with what are some natural ways to boost your GLP-1, right? What can we do to work with our bodies to increase this and to get amazing results? So I feel like 2 years ago, maybe we hadn't even like talked about GLP-1, hadn't heard it. It wasn't a buzzword, but now it's something that everyone is talking about. So type yes in the chat if you've heard of GLP-1. Like if you have heard this going around, just type yes in the chat. Okay. Yes, 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 yes. All right. So basically, if you watch any TV, you have heard about GLP-1, right? Because it is everywhere. I was watching the Olympics with my kids, and it was like every single commercial was for a GLP-1 medication. It was crazy. And I couldn't believe not only that it was so prevalent, but also the big name celebrities that they had on, like talking about these medications. That always kind of blows my mind that celebrities can be on there. But okay, we're going to dive in, talk about what actually is it. It's something we're seeing all over the place, but what is it? What does it actually do? So GLP-1, it stands for glucagon-like peptide 1. Okay, so it is a peptide. We're going to define what that is. But GLP-1 is actually a naturally occurring gut hormone. Okay, so maybe you didn't know this was a gut health conversation, but GLP-1 is naturally made in your gut, specifically in the small intestine, and it is released in response to eating. Okay, so I said it's a peptide. So what is a peptide? A peptide is a short chain of amino acids, and amino acids are the building blocks of protein. Your body runs on peptides. So some examples are insulin, that's a peptide, GLP-1, growth hormone, all peptides. And they're very like buzzwordy right now in the wellness world. You might hear about like biohacking with peptides. And it's because they are signals to your body. So they're kind of like text messages between your cells. They tell your cells when to build, when to burn, when to rest. And so a big draw right now is adding synthetic peptides to kind of alter the messaging, right? To like send more text messages. So if you think of it this way, those amino acids, they're kind of like individual letters, like letters of the alphabet. Peptides would be short words or like a text message. And then proteins are the full sentences or paragraphs. All right. So the peptides are this piece of the puzzle that work with your body. So GLP-1, it's not a drug. It's not a foreign substance. It's a naturally occurring protein-like messenger called a peptide that your body uses to communicate between systems. So really, it's a signaler. It's released when you're eating to signal your body to say that I feel full. I feel satisfied. I don't need to eat anymore. Okay. So it is a signaling peptide. Um, so if you think about taking a GLP-1 or taking a peptide on top or enhancing it, sometimes it's like we're trying to build on a broken foundation when really we just need to fix the signaling that's happening in our body. So we're going to get into that a little bit later. So we talked about peptides. GLP-1 is a gut hormone. All right. It's released from specialized cells in your gut called L cells, and it's released when food enters your digestive system. So we call it a gut hormone because it's made in the gut. It responds directly to food intake and it sends signals to other parts of the body about what just happened nutritionally. Okay, so the foods you eat, how quickly you eat, what order you eat your foods in, whether it's carbs first, protein first, is going to have a big impact on how the signal gets sent and if enough of the signal goes out. All right. Okay, so that's kind of what GLP-1 is. Let's talk about what it actually does. Like, why do we want this GLP-1 signal to be released and to go out? And it does four big things. It's all part of your body's metabolic regulation system, okay? And when you think about your metabolism, it's not just, do you have a fast metabolism or a slow metabolism? Your metabolism is so important, and there are so many people with metabolic disease or metabolic dysfunction, and then you see these after effects of it with obesity, with diabetes, insulin resistance, right? That's all metabolic dysfunction. And most of our American diseases are related to inflammation and metabolic dysfunction. So when you can kind of fix these things, you really get to the root of a lot of our imbalances. So GLP-1 is part of your metabolic regulation. The first key role that it has is that it helps to regulate your blood sugar. So maybe you were on our monthly Zoom last month where we talked about blood sugar. So important. Your blood sugar balance is key. GLP-1 signals the pancreas to release insulin when it's needed. Very important, right? Because when you eat, your blood sugar rises and then your pancreas kicks out insulin to bring that blood sugar down, to push it into the cells so that you don't have a high blood glucose circulating for long periods of time. It also reduces the release of glucagon. That's a hormone that raises your blood sugar. So GLP-1, when it's properly signaling, helps to regulate your blood sugar. More stable blood sugar levels after eating is good for your insulin sensitivity. Okay, so insulin resistance is a problem, right? If you have PCOS, if you have a high A1C, if you're type 2 diabetic, you're insulin resistant. So insulin sensitivity is really important, and your GLP-1 hormone helps to regulate that blood sugar. So first thing is blood sugar. Second thing GLP-1 does is it slows down digestion. It delays how quickly food leaves the stomach. So we call that gastric emptying. And the result is that you feel full for longer, and that blood sugar enters your bloodstream more slowly. Okay, so it slows down that digestive process. The third thing it does is it communicates with your brain, your satiety signal. Satiety just means like satisfied, feel full, not hungry anymore. So it sends signals to the brain, especially that appetite center of your brain, telling your brain, I'm not hungry anymore. I'm full. We can stop eating, right? If that system, if that signaling is broken, you can see how overeating, binge eating, never feeling satisfied, craving all the time, always reaching for fat, carbs, sugar, you can see how that could happen. And then what does that lead to? Weight gain, metabolic dysfunction, insulin resistance, right? The whole thing. So it communicates with your brain. The fourth thing that GLP-1 does is it supports your overall energy balance. So it helps your body sense that it has been fed. So less drive to overeat, more natural appetite regulation. And something I've been seeing going around that we call this is food noise. Okay, so I love that because it's just like such a clear picture of what's happening. Sometimes we have so much food noise. It's just like thinking about food all the time. When's my next thing? It's like you're eating this meal and thinking about what you're going to have for a snack later. That's food noise. So one of the main benefits that we see with GLP-1 boosting supplements, which I'll introduce to you at the end, is that it lessens the food noise because your signal is working more effectively. Okay, so that's kind of what it is, what it does in your body. We're going to talk a little bit about like what the medications are and how they work, but the reason GLP-1 is such a big deal right now and why this whole peptide talk is buzzing around is because this gut hormone really sits at the intersection of your blood sugar control, your appetite regulation, and your metabolism. And people know that if you can get those things working, you can really make big transformational changes in your health and wellness. So it's literally everywhere right now. We are going to dive into how the medications work. But I want you to know this is not in any way saying that you're right or wrong for choosing to use a medication. I know a lot of people are. Like I said, it's something you'd want to discuss with your physician. I don't think medications are useless. I think many are great in the right context, but I just want to lay down for you some objective information so that you can do your own research and see what's the best fit for you. So the GLP-1 medications like semaglutide, tirzepatide, they go by names like Ozempic, Wegovy, Zepbound. There's a whole bunch. You've seen commercials, I'm sure. What they do is they are designed to mimic your body's natural GLP-1 hormone in a synthetic way. Okay, so it's not actually putting the natural hormone into your system, it's giving you a synthetic version. But the one key difference is that they last much longer in the body. So they're modified peptides that last much longer. So to kind of contrast them, like your natural GLP-1 versus the medication GLP-1, your natural GLP-1 is released when you eat, it peaks quickly, and it's broken down within minutes. The medications are injected, or there's some that are orally taken right now. They're designed to resist breakdown, so they stay active for days or up to a full week from ingesting them or injecting them. So instead of a short meal signal, right? Like I just ate, this is being released, it becomes a constant signal. Does that make sense? Like it's staying up high in your system all the time. So they act on the same receptors as your natural GLP-1, but in a more prolonged and an amplified way, okay? Kind of like a louder way. So what that can do, like here's the good things, it can increase your insulin release, so move sugar out of the bloodstream. And that's why these drugs were originally developed for type 2 diabetics. They were not originally developed for just weight loss. It was for diabetics, right? Because they do a good job of pushing that sugar out of the bloodstreams and into the cells. They do suppress glucagon. So again, that's coming from your liver. That's regulating the release of stored sugar, which can help prevent blood sugar spikes. They also significantly slow gastric emptying, right? So we talked about how GLP-1 like slows your stomach down. These medications really, really do that. That's a big reason why people feel so full for long periods of time. And they do also act on the brain's appetite center. So a lot of the things your natural GLP-1 does, the medications do, but in an amplified, bigger, longer sense. Okay. So the weight loss absolutely can happen with the medications because you are going to have reduced calorie intake because you really can't eat as much. Blood sugar can improve, and less frequent eating and snacking, all leads to weight loss. The caution is that instead of restoring function to your body, there are like override signals, right? It's like overwhelming your system with all of this GLP-1 instead of restoring the function to actually help your body do it naturally. It's replacing and amplifying that natural signal. And you have to ask yourself, like, well, why wasn't it working in the first place, right? Why wasn't my system signaling correctly? And the cautions, the things, and I've talked to lots of people who are using these. I've actually seen a lot of these things. They really change your eating experience. So your hunger cues are significantly reduced. And at its core, hunger is not a bad thing, right? Or thinking about food is not a bad thing. Like it sustains us. Like it's God's design for us to eat and drink and rest, all those things. So hunger cues aren't bad. They're significantly reduced with medications. Some people have to intentionally remember to eat, like set an alarm to eat because there's just zero hunger happening. There can also be a lot of digestive side effects like nausea, regular vomiting, constipation constipation, bloating, or just feeling like you cannot eat at all. And that's largely due to that slowed digestion. Okay, it really, really slows things down. And then probably the biggest one, and maybe something you haven't considered, is that muscle loss can really occur big time. And that's because when you drop your overall food intake, you are lowering your protein and you're not getting as much nutrients. So if you're losing weight without proper strength training and protein intake, you are going to lose a ton of muscle mass. A ton of muscle mass. And muscle is a key indicator of longevity. People with more muscle mass live healthier for longer. Okay, so this is not a small thing like, oh, I'll lose some muscle. It's actually a really big thing, especially if you're over 40. You really want to maintain that lean muscle, and losing muscle along with fat can actually undermine your long-term health. Okay, so that is key. That's why protein and strength training are so, so important when you're losing weight. You don't want to be losing your lean muscle. Okay, and then the last caution with the medications is they typically require ongoing use. So if you're not fixing the root problem, if you're not addressing the broken signal, as soon as you stop the medication, those appetite signals return, and you haven't really fixed the underlying problem. So when you go off the medication, you normally gain the weight back, and now in a system that has less muscle, right? So now your metabolism is even worse. So just ask, is this medication, is it supporting the foundation of my health? Or am I just building on a poor foundation? And again, I think there's a place for it if you've got severe type 2 diabetes that can't get under control. If you're obese and it's to the point where if something doesn't change, it's going to take your life. There are times and there are situations. So you just have to decide if it's right for you. A great resource that I've really enjoyed is Dr. Mark Hyman. He has an excellent podcast that I often listen to. And I love how he explains this. He says the goal isn't just to lose weight. The goal is to be metabolically resilient, which means that when you lay a great foundation with proper protein and nutrient intake and proper sleep, exercise, vitamins, all those things, hydration, that you can have resilience in your metabolism, meaning you can enjoy some foods that you love. You don't have to restrict every single thing, and it won't completely disrupt your system. So if you have metabolic disease, and you've gone into type 2 diabetes, if you enjoy a piece of cake, it can really be dangerous for you, right? Because your blood sugar can become a serious issue. If you're metabolically resilient and you've built that through lifestyle, then when you have a piece of cake, it doesn't do a lot of damage to you because you've laid a great foundation. So the goal isn't just, be the lowest weight I can be. It's I want to be metabolically healthy. I want to be metabolically resilient so that I can enjoy, right? I can do the things I want to do. So okay, let's shift off the medications and talk about natural ways to support your GLP-1, right? Because anytime we can do something naturally, that is a great way to start. And even if you're using the medications, you want to work on your lifestyle as well, because when you come off them, if you're working on the lifestyle, it's something that you can maintain instead of, going right back. So couple natural ways to support your GLP-1. The first thing is to prioritize protein. Okay. Prioritize protein, especially at your first meal. Now, some people do intermittent fasting. I think fasting is a wonderful tool. Every now and then, I love to do a 24-hour fast. It's great for cleansing your cells. It's great for your mindset. I think there's a lot of spiritual benefit, but on most days in the morning, you want to prioritize protein. And protein is one of the strongest natural stimulators of GLP-1 release. So it really stimulates your body to go ahead and trigger the GLP-1. So aim for 25 to 35 grams of protein at breakfast. To the ladies on this call, you're probably not eating enough protein. Almost every single woman I talk to does not eat enough protein, sometimes like half as much as you should or a third as much as you should. So if you're shooting for 25 to 35 grams at each meal, you'll end up okay. If you get 50 grams at each meal, woo, you are doing awesome. Okay, so some examples, eggs and turkey sausage, protein shake. I love doing Greek yogurt with a scoop of protein powder and then putting chia or flaxseed, fresh fruit on top. That's so good. Leftovers for breakfast, guys. So underrated, but like so good. Just grab some leftovers for dinner. All right, so protein first. Protein at every meal, prioritizing protein is key. Second thing is don't skip meals. All right, second lifestyle tip. Don't skip meals. GLP-1 is released in response to eating. Okay, so if you're skipping meals, you're missing opportunities to activate that signal, right? Some people think, oh, I need to lose weight, I just won't eat. What will happen is you will break your metabolism. You will break it. The hardest thing is fixing a broken metabolism. So every day, I'd rather work with someone who's an overeater than someone who's an undereater because when you undereat, it takes about 6 to 8 weeks of proper nutrition for your metabolism to actually start working again. So I just want to tell you, it can be a long process. So don't skip meals because you want to give that GLP-1 the opportunity to be signaled. When you skip meals, your blood sugar dips, which results in a craving later, right? It dips. So then you're like, I am hangry, and you eat way too much, blood sugar skyrockets. You end up overeating at night. And you have a weaker satiety signal, meaning you just don't feel satisfied when you do eat. Okay. So, what I recommend if you're working on boosting your GLP-1 is 3 meals per day, protein focused and protein first, meaning that when you sit down to eat, you actually eat the protein food first. I know that sounds almost silly, but if you eat your protein first, you have a 20 to 30% lower blood sugar spike. Same food on your plate, okay? Same food, but if you eat the protein first, your blood sugar is going to respond better than if you eat the carbs first. So just look at your plate. Where's my protein? Eat that first, then eat your other stuff. And you want to reduce snacking throughout the day and especially at night. So meals triggers your GLP-1, but then you stop eating and you work with your body's flow. The third thing is to build your meals around fiber and whole foods. So fiber is really important to stimulate that GLP-1 release, especially soluble fiber. It helps to naturally slow your digestion, just like those medications do, but this is gentler. It's natural, getting enough fiber in your diet. Focus on vegetables, seeds like chia and flax, berries, legumes. But just a note about fiber is you have to stay hydrated. If you put a ton of fiber in your system without water, it becomes cement, okay? And it will actually like clog you up. So some people for constipation, they're like, I need more fiber, but they don't drink water and their constipation's worse. It's because you have to have water to move that fiber through, okay? So fiber, yes, water, yes, please. Okay, remember that GLP-1 is made in the gut. So anything that you're doing to focus on your gut health is going to help that GLP-1 signaling. So I love my gut health supplement system. I love probiotic rich foods, fermented foods, getting rid of those ultra processed stuff that, destroy your gut. Artificial sweeteners destroy your gut, get rid of that, manage your inflammation. Because if your gut is inflamed or out of balance, then that signaling system isn't going to work optimally. Okay. Um, 2 more tips. Blood sugar balance, so huge. So those blood sugar swings can blunt how well your body responds to GLP-1. So if you're constantly riding that blood sugar roller coaster up, down, your body isn't going to be very effective with your GLP-1 hormone. So avoid naked carbs. We talked about this when we talked about macronutrients, but that means carbs by themselves. Do not eat naked carbs. Make sure you always have a protein attached to that carb. And if you missed that call, that macronutrient call, I can send you the recording. But protein and fiber at every meal, no naked carbs, that's going to help regulate your blood sugar. And this tip I love, move your body, especially after meals. This improves your GLP-1 response, it improves your insulin sensitivity, and it can be as easy as 10 to 15 minutes after meals. So either take a walk, put on your favorite 3 songs and have a dance party in your kitchen, drop some squats in front of the dishwasher. I don't care, but 10 to 15 minutes after your meal, move your body. It's one of the simplest, most effective habits, and it has a profound effect on your blood sugar. Jump, yeah, jump on a trampoline, run outside with your kids, bike around the neighborhood, like literally anything, just move your body, okay? Um, okay, I'm really running out of time. There are some biohacking tips. We talked about some of them, like eat your protein first. A little apple cider vinegar and water, if you can tolerate that before a meal, is also great to kind of trigger that GLP-1 and get it firing. Slow down your eating. This one is also not talked about very often and underrated, but that GLP-1 signal, it isn't instant. It takes time to reach your brain. So if you eat too fast, you can miss the signal and overeat. Okay. So remember that eating is meant to be like a social thing, a family thing. I know sometimes we're just like trying to get the nutrients in and go, but like put your fork down, talk to somebody, right? Like take the full 15 or 20 minutes to eat, have dinner as a family and converse. That is actually huge for giving that GLP-1 signal time to reach your brain and say like, oh yeah, I'm actually good. When we snarf food, we tend to really, really eat more calories than we actually need. Okay. Um, Bitter foods are also great for gut activation. So, bitter compounds stimulate those digestive hormones. So, like apple cider vinegar, lemon water, arugula, all of those good. I mean, I love that stuff. I love bitter foods. I love olives. They can kind of wake up your gut before your meal. So, just a little fun, like biohacking thing is a little bit of bitter foods, bitter herbs will activate your gut before your meals. And the last tip I'll just leave you with before I tell you kind of a wrap up thing is that sleep is so important. Sleep is your metabolic superpower. So you can't out supplement or out nutrition bad sleep when it comes to your hunger signals. If you're getting 5 hours or less of sleep a night, there's no way your hormones are working properly. Okay. So I know it's hard because we live in this crazy world with so many demands and it's easy to just burn at both ends. But really, sleep is going to be a main thing if you want to lose weight, if you want your hormones to be balanced, and if you want this GLP response to work for you. Okay. So I know we're out of time. I just want to wrap up by just giving you a recommendation. So when I do these monthly wellness Zooms, the purpose is always just to educate and to leave you with a lot of practical tips. And so I haven't talked about supplements at all, but for this particular topic, I can't not tell you what we've been using because it is so effective at boosting your GLP-1 naturally. And we've been seeing such incredible success that we actually sold out of the supplement system and had back orders for weeks this month. It is back in stock now, but the supplement system that I've been using is called Slim and Trim, and it's 2 drinks and 1 capsule that work together to naturally boost your GLP-1 through fiber, introducing fiber into your system, supporting your gut health and detoxification, and balancing your blood sugar. So if you're looking for a natural option, we actually ran a support group in March, saw amazing success. And one of the main things we saw was less food noise, right? That food noise that's like all the time, less food noise, supporting your GLP-1. So we're seeing weight loss. And we're also seeing a ton of improvement with perimenopause and menopause symptoms just by taking this simple system. And that's probably my favorite part is that it's really, really simple. We're mixing 2 drinks together mid-morning and taking a capsule with it, and that's it. Along with these lifestyle tips of, protein first and movement after meals, we're seeing amazing, amazing results. And so I wanted to invite you. We are doing this again in April. Support group, a chat just for daily accountability and using this really, really simple system. It helps with better sleep, with weight loss, less food noise, and those hormones. So it's really an amazing tool. If you're looking for a natural option, I would love to tell you more and help you with that. Yes, Chris, 2 capsules, one type of capsule. We take 2 of them. Yes. Okay, so if you're thinking like, okay, I need help, I know what to do, but I need help doing it, or my cravings feel out of control, just take my name, Brittany Raup, find me on Facebook and shoot me a message, or you can comment in the chat and just say me, and I'll know to reach out to you. But I would love to get you the info, see if it's a good fit for you. And if you want to join in our support group, that is often the missing piece with losing weight and being consistent is you need accountability, right? And so that's what we love to do is support you. I'm also going to drop just a really short, I'm going to grab a link here, Google form in the chat here. This is what I use to invite you next time to our next monthly wellness Zoom. So if you would please click that form or copy and paste it so you can do it later. It's super short and it gives you a chance to tell me what topics you would love to hear. I take those into consideration as we're planning out the year of our Zoom calls. And there's also an opportunity to share what your health goals are so that if you want to chat one-on-one, I would absolutely love that to see how I can support you, different tools and resources that I can give you, and just connect with you around your wellness journey. So we are so out of time. Thank you guys for being here. I hope it was valuable and you took some tips that you can implement on your wellness journey. But again, thank you so much. Hope you have a great night and I hope you learned something new. Good night, guys.